I'm going to step to the side. This screen is the screen you're going to see each time you walk up to it. Unlike the other screen, you had a basic screen and everything that you touched opened up another screen. This is the basic screen and just about all the other screens combined into one. So just about every feature that you're going to want to see is on this one screen. Are y'all set up to print yet?
Yes.
Okay. Everything that you can do from this screen, you can do from your print driver as well. But as you can see, this machine, when you walk up, you've got color over here. It is defaulted to black. If I want to change, if I've got a color photo or whatever that I want to make a picture of, I can either lay it in the left hand corner or I can set it in the feeder face up. Auto color is just going to make it's going to give you a good color, but if you've got deep reds or colors that you really want to pop in, like in one of your skeletal drawings or whatever, if you'll go full color, it'll pull it out a little bit more, your deeper, richer colors.
Okay.
Of course, there's black. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what two color means. I have yet to figure out anything that it actually does. But
okay.
Printers usually do. Single color, if I've got a document that's in black and I want to change the text itself, I can go to single color, I can touch select color and scroll through all those colors and pick the color that I want.
And it'll make the text that color?
It'll make the text that color, a single color.
Okay.
So if I want it in green, my text will be in green. Reset changes everything back to what it should be. Your density in this corner, I can lighten and darken just the text from there.
Okay.
So if I want it to be, if you've got something that's faded a little bit, you can choose. It's going to stay in auto paper, and y'all have 11 by 17 in there. It's just like the other trays. It will automatically read what's in it as long as those paper guides are touching.
And if we want to put 8 by 14, 8.5 by 14, we can put it in there and reset it.
It will automatically read as long as you move these paper guides where they're supposed to be.
Okay.
It'll automatically, and it will read as long as it's touching those papers.
Okay.
It's like here, you'll watch it go from there. It flipped the direction on the screen. So it will know what you put in it as long as those paper guides touch, just like your other machine.
Okay.
Just like it. Now these drawers are different in the fact that if you put your finger right in the middle of them, they're hinged. You don't have to jerk them anymore. They'll come right out. I'm going to turn this back the way they had it. So if I've got something here and the original's not it says I don't recognize it, you can actually tell it to go to that tray and get that paper size. You can force it to go get the size paper you want it to put on. Here you got your zooms. They're all preset where I can touch zoom, and here I can touch whichever one I want. Or I can go to manual. I can go to a manual zoom. Let's leave it auto. Well, I've got it set. Let me get it back to normal, 100%. Right there. I can either touch this and go up by 1/10 of a percent.
There's something wrong with that.
Let me do this. I've got it messed up. It's telling me I don't have the same. If I was going from one size paper to another one, I could touch manual, and I could punch in 125%. I could tell it I wanted it to go to that. There's also the original. This is where you do front and back right here. Single-sided to single-sided, single-sided originals to double-sided copies, double-sided originals back to single-sided copies,
Okay.
and two-sided originals to two-sided copies. Now there's a big difference in the way this machine works and the other one works. This one reads it'll read both sides of the paper in one pass. So if it's a 2 to 2, it won't shoot it back out here and pull it back through. It reads it one time. It's got mirrors on the top and bottom in here, and it reads both sides. So when you get, if you set up to scan like to your computer, it'll scan 160 pages a minute as long as those pages are double-sided.
Wow.
80 pages a minute if they're single-sided. So it doesn't slow down. It continues right on its speed, full color or black and white. It does not change speed and color. That's a real strong feeder. Try to leave this feeder down. Don't leave it up. Try not to, when you walk off and leave it up, try to keep it down, just for the simple fact that way these mirrors don't get that light from the bottom side.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like much, but it can actually opaque those mirrors just for a bit. It'll fog them up some.
Okay.
If you're not careful. This combine is where you can actually put 2 pages on the front of one page. I think some of y'all have probably used that. So not really a lot has changed. On this machine finishing, here you can tell it to sort or group. Group is like if I got 6 pieces of paper, I need 20 pages of number 1, 20 pages of number 2. Rather than sitting here and feeding those 6 pages through there, just tell it to group and touch offset. As long as you've got paper, and this is the key, as long as you've got paper in those trays, letter size paper going one way and letter size paper going the other way, it'll actually pull from tray 1 and tray 2 at the same time, and it'll crisscross sort your stack. All number 1s, all number 2s, all number 3s.
Okay.
Such. Now sort is if I've got 6 pages and I need 16 sets. It'll give me 1 through 6 this way, 1 through 6 that way. As long as those papers, the same size papers, are in the machine facing the opposite directions. Does that make any sense?
Yes. So
Okay.
we would have to have letter paper in tray 1 and 2,
Right.
but in opposite directions.
Right. Tray
So-
2 would be, tray 1 is what they call portrait.
Mm-hmm.
So tray 2 would have to be landscape going the
Okay.
other way.
All right. And if you don't have that, how does it do it if you do group? Or will it
It's
not
just
do
going to
that?
drop them all on top
top
of
of
each
one
other.
another.
You got to count back through them and sort them out.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
really, and I don't. How much 11 by 17 do y'all use?
Not very much.
I might go ahead and put
Okay.
paper in that other tray facing the other way. And the one thing about it, if it runs out of letter size paper in the top tray, is where it's mainly going to feed. If it runs out, it'll go to the second tray and automatically rotate the image. So you've got 1,000 sheets of paper in there of the same size in the morning, and by the end of the day during exams, you're subject to run all of it out. And rather than feeding one tray, fill them up. It'll just rotate the image and keep on going.
Okay. Great.
There is a guidance button here. Guidance. Let me go back just a second. I did see original type. Original type, text photo. You've also got these photo modes, and you've also got a map.
So may I ask when you would want to change that? Like, when would you want to go there and make one of those changes as opposed to letting it decide for itself?
If you've got a photo, it will actually scan slower and scan differently.
Okay.
It will actually make you a cleaner, crisper copy, especially if you're going to do it in color or black and white. It will make a cleaner copy. And a lot of these times when you're going to have lines on your drawings to this artery or that artery, that's the difference. It will make a big difference. It will make a big difference. Under this application tab here, you can actually take your finger and scroll across that. There's other things. You can also take this and touch the screen.
So
you got fingernails, you can't get your finger up there, you can take and touch the screen with it.
And now where was that again?
Right there.
Okay.
Students see these, they love them for iPods and iPads and iPhones. So you might want to keep it out of their sight. They're subject to disappear. But on this application, I'm going to show you there's quality density. I'm going to touch right there. you've got this bleed removal standard. What this does, if you've got those drawings that are, you've got tissue and you've got bone, and sometimes it's hard to tell the difference, and there's text inside of there, if you've got on colored paper, you can actually lighten and take some of that fuzz out of it, some of that grayness out of it, and
Okay.
it will pull some of that out. And I know a lot of this stuff is just going to kind of be trial and error. Text enhancement. If you've got those drawings where there's text and it's kind of lost inside the drawing, especially if it's black and there's color around it, you can darken the text and not darken the photo or the background. You just leave the background the way it is. So you do have a way to kind of pull out some of that you didn't have on that black and white, where the text gets lost. Just, you can darken the text just a little bit, or you can darken it a lot, and it will pull the text out of the drawing,
Okay.
or the schematic, or what have you. And that's kind of
Just
kind of the basics.
and does it have the side tray like the other one has? So if I wanted to put the 11.5 on the side tray, could I do that, or can I not? Okay.
That's got to be flipped out. The only thing about that is
You got to be careful. Yes, indeed. Okay.
I would definitely not leave it in there and leave it down.
Unless we move it over some.
Right.
Okay.
That will be broken. This has to be flipped out if there's anything larger than than letter size paper. Rather, it's got to be flipped out.
So if they do want to have another paper size and they want the crisscrossing option, they can put letter in both of these trays,
Letter in both those
and
trays,
then put the other paper side on the
right,
side.
and use it, and it'll automatically read it too.
Okay.
There is one thing on this machine that I do like. You see this guidance button? If you have any questions about what something does on this machine, you can actually go in there. If you want to know a certain function, you can touch it. You can go through there. You can open those tabs, and it'll actually give you exactly what that function is, exactly what it does, and it beats the hammer out of grabbing out the instruction books in the bottom, because you're actually viewing it and able to go up there and do it. This machine has a lot of capabilities on it that probably won't be used, but you're going to have teachers that are professors and stuff, they're going to tinker with it, and they're going to have, some of them already are used to these iPhones and everything. This follows that same mode. They're going to play, they're going to touch, they're going to mess with it, and they'll figure a lot of it out. But on this machine, you've got places where it will jam. There again, this feeder, you can see those mirrors in there. So kind of be careful when you're opening and closing. When you're closing this thing back up, just pop it closed, just like that, and it'll close back. This is your only scan window, just the same as the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Now y'all notice one thing I did here. I moved over it. This thing has a proximity sensor. It's set. If you walk by it just so close, it'll come on. It's also set sometimes you might not even have to. I didn't even touch the screen. I was 1/8 of an inch away from it.
Wow.
And it still reads what you're trying to press. So it's built.
It is a modern device.
Differently than
Yes.
anything you've used in this building. It's a lot different from the color machine on the second floor. A lot different.
Yeah, I can tell you.
It's got a lot more, and that's one thing. This is one of those that you really got to kind of play with and learn. But it is, this door on this side opens up unlike the other one, and everything you need to get to is right there. Anything that's green turns or opens.
Okay.
Turns, opens, lets down. And then it all closes right back up. So that's your colors. Really, you really won't, I don't know who's going to be responsible to change those. But you probably want to have one person that might be responsible to do that.
Okay.
And these colors, there's only one place they'll go in. You can't make a blue go in a yellow without forcing it. There's keys on it, and there's also sensors. When you put it in there, it recognizes it's going in the right tube.
Okay.
Recognizes it. This is a waste toner box. Every once in a while, you're going to get a message to empty the waste toner box, especially if you do a lot of color.
Okay.
And it'll have to be empty. The first time it does it, you might get our service guy to actually do it.
Okay.
It'd be worth the service call. Let him come do it. Let him empty it. Let him show somebody, you or whoever, Stacy, show you how to do that. Because if you pop the ears on this, pushing it in or pushing it out, you're dead till there's another box come in. So but you're talking about 29,000 in the black and 26,000 copies in the color. So you're going to be a while before you shoot.
Right.
And as it gets really, really heavily used in color, it's going to be a while.
Okay.
It's going to be a while. Alright. This one is, you got lights. If there's something that's going into the machine, it's going to blink blue. If there's something wrong, it's going to blink orange. Your trays, if you come in here and there's orange lights on your trays, that's telling you one of two things: you got a problem, or your paper trays are low.
Okay.
It'll blink at you when it gets low enough, or it's empty. It's going to say, hey, I can't do anything. And you'll have a sign that says replenish paper up here.
Okay.
Now, also on this side, right over here, if you choose to scan something, you can put a fat 32 thumb drive with no hardware on it. You can put it in there. As long as there's no, any software on it, rather, a formatted thumb drive, you can put it in there and scan it as a TIFF, PDF, JPEG, PowerPoint.
Oh, really?
Right. Chuck likes that because it keeps things from going back onto the network that don't necessarily need to be through the network. If they're going to hack you, they're not going to hack you on the print side, they're going to hack you on the scan side.
So I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. So if there is an image in the book that I want to scan, okay,
right,
I can put it on the top, and then I can put in my thumb drive, and then I can go to the scan instead of the copy function.
Go right there.
Okay, and you press
that will
one,
pop up.
right?
It will actually pop up when you put your thumb drive in there. It will pop up.
Okay.
It'll pop up. It'll say print to, scan from, or hold on the hard drive. I'm actually going to turn the hold on the hard drive off.
Okay.
This thing has a 250 gigabyte hard drive.
And I want to ask you about hard drives too, because we have old copiers, and some of them may have hard drives. Do you have a recommendation for disposing of those, or should we?
The 200 that you had in here does not have a hard drive.
It does not have
one. It does not. There are very few. The color machines are the first ones that really come out with the hard drives on them. So there's really nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing to do.
Okay.
But when that pops up, you'll have these options on here too. You can scan double-sided. You can increase the DPI.
Okay.
You can scan a color document in black and white if you don't want the file size to be that large. You can reduce the file size by simply scanning it in black and white. I can scan it as a PDF, TIFF, XPS, compact, JPEG, XPS.
All right, so let me ask you this while I'm thinking about it. So if I had several things, for example, that I wanted to scan, and I put them in the tray, I can scan them and then I can have them as a PDF.
Right.
Okay.
It's default's PDF.
The default is PDF.
The default is PDF.
Okay.
You will have to manually change it to something else.
Okay, that's excellent. And I'll keep recording, Mary, and send it to you, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You can even tell it the size of your photo, the size of your paper. Y'all are not going to be set up to email because there is a sometimes it's hard to make the server recognize the copier address. Okay. So that's why Chuck likes the thumb drive.
That's great. I didn't know that was there. That's great, actually.
And you can, like I said, when you put the thumb drive in, you're going to be able to, it will automatically pop up those three choices. Scan to, print from, or scan from and save to the hard drive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm going to turn the save to the hard drive off.
Okay.
Because that would actually come into what they call a user box function. And you really don't want them to have.
Okay. All right.
They don't need to be storing anything on here.
That's great.
So-
I don't think that's a problem with that.
There is one thing right here there's a job list.
Okay.
When I go to that job list, if there was a job in there, we would see it right now.
Okay.
There's also a job log. If you look over here, there's all jobs, finished jobs, and deleted jobs. Now, on this all jobs, you look down through there and you can see job complete, such as that. You can also go down through there and see like deleted jobs. Now, when they set you up, you'll be able to see who the user was that sent it. If we had codes in here.
Mm-hmm.
But say they print something from a website to the copier. If I touch that job, that's been deleted. And go to details, it tells me where it came from. If it was an Excel spreadsheet they printed from, it will show it there's an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
If it's a website, it will give you the website.
Okay.
So the reason I say that is if you don't want people to know you're printing personal stuff on it,
Right. I got it.
there's a way to see it.
Right.
There is a way to see it. So that's I'm always quick to tell people that because then they know.
Right.
And it's not to scare them or anything. It's just saying if you print something you don't want somebody to know you came off a website or whatever, just don't do it.
Okay.
It's going to show you. And not that you're going to be policing them or chasing them
Right.
around and beating them over the head. But
Right. Exactly.
still, and yet you can see it.
So exactly.
This screen also slides over. So just like here,
Oh wow.
I can punch the number in. Or I can punch a 10 keypad and do it right there.
Okay.
Some people, this is kind of a handicap feature, is really what it is.
Yes.
It really is. I like this. I use it more than I do than that keypad because I like to see where my job and I like to see that I'm adding 25 or 58 or whatever to it.
Right.
My job is still there and when I hit start I get it. Reset clears anything on here that you've done as far as changes the copier. Clear right there only changes that number. So if I've set a job up and I meant to put 75 and I put 750, I can hit clear and my job will still be here. I can go back and put 75.
That's great.
It's kind of keeps you from having to build it all over again.
Right.
If I'm doing a job a lot, and I'm changing my zooms and I'm doing double-sided and I'm telling it to go color and I'm doing that a lot and I don't want to have to set that job up all the time. There's this tab up here called Program. I can set the job up, run the job, touch this, touch New, give it a name, and hit OK and close. The next time I want to do that job, there it is.
Okay.
So I don't have to go in there and rebuild that job every time. If I'm
Right.
doing it regularly, just set it up and save it in there. And then all I got to do is come up, and I can even look at recall, and it will show me right here all the changes that I made. I can actually look and see if that is still the job I wanted it to be.
Okay.
I like that, especially
That's really good.
if you're just doing something that you really had to think to set it up the first time.
Right.
You don't want to have to think to set it up the second time. Just save it. And to get it out,
And go to delete it.
and you see how
Okay.
easily I'm touching those buttons.
Yes.
Let me see if I made that.
So,
Gone.
is there a preferred cleaning solution for?
This, I need to get you a rag. There's an oilcloth rag that's good for that.
Okay.
And it's good for here. You notice this is sticking? That's because that has not been raised up and down. The more it's raised up and down, the more it will help. Do try to leave this lid down when not in use,
Okay.
just to keep the light off the mirrors.
Yes.
But I'm going to close that. Actually, I'll leave that out for a little bit. Is there anything there you can see that...
I think that's good.
Of course, they'll have more questions when they play with it. There's going to be more things that they'll see that there's so much this machine will do, it can be too much.
Right.
To show and then just walk. Because then they're wondering, where did I hit start?
Well, if they have any specific questions, like a specific task, I can always call you guys.
You can. I'm over here all the time. So
Okay.
I'm over here all the time. The print driver, they'll find themselves, if they're printing to it, they'll find themselves doing more printing than they probably will copying.
Right.
Because it's nice. Anything you can do from the screen, you can do that and more from the print driver.
That's nice. That's very nice.
And I'm not sure which driver's chucking them loaded. They probably loaded the PCL and the PostScript drivers. PCL is going to be the driver they'll use the most.
Okay.
PostScript, if you've got large Adobe files that are kind of complex, use that.
Okay.
Use the PostScript driver. The PCL, 95% of your normal, average, everyday printing.
Okay.
Some people use the PCL continually.
Okay.
But your color might not be as good.
Okay. Good.
And it will do. There's several more things that we'll do, but we'll give it a little time to you let them get mad at it.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
Good deal. That's great.
All right.
Thank you very much.